Cal, every time that I see you, I am at my happiest. You are such an amazing character, such a role model for all of us. And so I'm so excited to be here, to be interviewing you today. It's such a pleasure. Let me start by asking, you are a global ambassador for No More. You're the first ambassador with that role. What does that mean to you? And why did you even say yes?
Well, first of all, I want to thank Peace One Day, and I want to thank No More for raising awareness and doing this today. I couldn't resist saying no to you to be your first ambassador, and it's been an absolute privilege. My story is interesting in that I hosted a podcast, a real true crime podcast, called The Girlfriends, and it was a sisterhood of women that came together to solve a crime. There was a woman who was murdered. I had been in a relationship with her husband prior to that or after that murder. I just want to mention Gail because Gail Katz was the one who was murdered, and I feel an honor to be her voice. Little did I realize that when Anna Sinfeld from Novel and iHeartRadio put this podcast together, that millions of people would hear it, and it became number one. And so what I learned from that is that women feel alone and often don't feel empowered to have a voice about domestic violence. And so all of a sudden, women were reaching out to me and thanking me for sharing my story, their story, and it's been an honor. And at that point, I had a moral obligation to continue these efforts and to work with you and your team, and you're doing amazing work. So thank you for allowing me to be your first ambassador.
And Carole, I want to come to the podcast, but before that, I really want to kind of delve in something that you just said, which was you didn't expect, that outcry or that outpour. How did you take that in? How did you kind of feel that was happening, and how unexpected was it?
It was so unexpected for me, and it still really takes my breath away. 1 in 3 women will experience some type of domestic violence during their life. And so the fact that we're in what I would call a silent epidemic, a health crisis, is overwhelming to me. And it really speaks to the fact that women don't feel empowered to share their story. And so the learning has been great for me. It's just been absolutely amazing.
And for anybody who hasn't heard the podcast, it's a must. It's The Girlfriends, and it's an incredible story of women that come together because many of them have dated the same man who goes on to, murder somebody. And I want to, if we can get, a minute from you around the friendship that was formed in the community that all of you actually come together. How did that happen, and what impact did that have on you?
We had a West Coast contingency of girlfriends. I was in Las Vegas when I dated this man, and the woman who was murdered, Gail, was in New York. So it was coast to coast reach. We have become fast friends. It's been just wonderful to be friends today with Gail's sister, Elaine, who is just this amazing force bringing awareness to domestic violence. But I think the important thing is that girlfriends, we band together to right or wrong. And, I think there's power in that, and there's learning in that. Pam, what we see today is that women supporting other women can be the best thing for supporting women that have experienced domestic violence, that are in a domestic violence relationship. There's so much to be said about the power of friendship, honest, pure friendship.
In this day of the elimination of violence against women, for us it's a bit of a season because we're preparing for it, and for the 16 days of activism. I've had a lot of thinking about especially family members of people who have been murdered or injured. And you mentioned a little bit about Gail. Let's talk a little bit about Elaine and the role that she had, and it's almost like the cross that she carried. What impact did that have on the case and on yourself?
Elaine is an amazing woman who understood that her sister had been murdered and they had no evidence to prove that. And it took close to 20, 30 years to make that proof a reality. Elaine took a tragedy and turned it into her everyday work, but she sits with that pain every day. And it motivates her to do good in the world, but it is an overwhelming a feeling of despair for her each and every day. And I know that she just really appreciates the fact that you're shedding light and raising awareness, and that other women are joining her in these efforts.
And I know she runs a fantastic charity, or she supports a charity called Gail's House, if I'm not mistaken, right? So just doing a big shout out for it and all the amazing work they do. I know Girlfriends kind of moved on to a second season where they were talking of more women that were murdered. And today, in this day, why do you think, based on all of that and the fantastic ending Girlfriend's first season had, why do you think this day is important, and why should we should be all talking about it?
At the end of season 1, you'll remember in that last final episode, we read a list of names of hundreds of women that have gone missing, unsolved cases, and we remember them with passion and compassion and respect, and we honor them. And there were so many people who reached out. They were so moved by that we then moved on to season 2, and we solved another crime. And it was important. The girlfriends in the episode turned out to be larger than one might imagine, because I have so many new girlfriends now from the girlfriends that it really is mind-blowing. Women feel this amazing bond, and they want to come together to support one another. And that's what we're seeing through season 1, and that's certainly what we have seen and experienced in season 2. And almost daily, people reach out through my social media and ask what they can do to be part of the solution. So I would say to women looking to get involved that are listening today, please reach out to knowmore.org. That's NOMORE.org. And, you can make a difference. And if you need help, we want you to reach out. If you're feeling alone, if you're feeling that embarrassment and stigma and shame, please reach out, because all of us are here to support you.
And I would love to count myself in your kind of Girlfriends newfound, team. So, thank you so much for the support. And I have a couple of seconds. If there was one message that you want to leave to everybody today, Carole, what would that be?
Well, first of all, you are a big girlfriend of mine. You are an important girlfriend of mine. You're amazing, Pam. That one message is you're not alone. You're not alone. There's help out there. You didn't do anything wrong. If you're experiencing domestic violence, please know that doesn't have to be your entire story of your life. That there's a light out there, and we're all here to help.
And that's the great Carole Fisher for everybody. Thank you so much for your love and your support.